The biggest thing is here, I think we're headed into this perpetual cycle because we're already in the midterm cycle. I mean, Labor Day's coming after that. We'll be focused on, Congress is at gridlock. We're already into midterm season, this and that. Um, and the Democrats will, to avoid the economic disaster that they're not really doing anything about, will keep the focus on Trump and January 6th and come out because we can't give it back to Trump and Marjorie Green Taylor. So all be these kind of, you know, true issues. The right is scary and dangerous and growingly insane, but they're going to try and paper over. Their messaging will be, save our majority. Don't worry if we didn't do anything substantively other than 1.9 trillion shots in your arm, whatever. Because of that, and there will be very little focus on what is now the economic Hunger Games. Evictions have already started. Tomorrow, September 1st, they're going to expedite tenfold. Unemployment's up in 6 days. You mentioned the mortgage expiration. We didn't even talk about the student loan expiration. Everybody's dancing that there's been a little extension. Well, they're not going to extend it that much longer. We didn't even talk about the housing bubble that is now forming. Yeah. So there is a calamity coming, folks. There's a calamity coming, and the corporate media will paper over it with articles about the booming economy. And maybe some months unemployment will go down lower and they'll have good GDP numbers and declare everything, rainbows and sunshine. But things are coming.
Let me just say this real quick to finish off on this, because the bubble is really important to know. As people get thrown out of their homes, BlackRock has already got a business model of buying up these houses. And you want to talk about when you have no choice but to rent from BlackRock? We're getting to a really, really dangerous place, folks.
Right.
And, the work that we're doing over there with the con and with the new Untouchables is all about this. And I'm hoping, I'm not here to even plug the show. I'm here to tell you, this is not, infotainment, folks. You're about to live this disaster. Your family's going to live this disaster. Your friends are going to live this disaster. And really, unless we organize around these issues, not some nefarious, some other bullshit thing that somebody else thought, oh, wouldn't it be neat? These are the real material disasters coming your way right now. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in Mississippi and Louisiana during this.
Right. And before you came on, by the way, Tahoe is orange from the fires. Louisiana right now, I'm sure there's going to be more hurricanes in Florida and elsewhere, stronger, more regular. I wanted to ask you real quick. I know you got to go, but squeeze this in. This is counter to what you preach, because obviously we just printed money to be in Afghanistan and it was all a scam. Taxpayers did not pay for that war. I'm glad, at least surface level, we're gutting out. And, I'm crediting Biden for that. I know it's bad to do that. But by the Democratic Party's standard of we got to pay for everything, well, you're just taking something big off the books. I mean, obviously, we know it doesn't work that way, but playing their mental game, we're taking a big overhead off the books, folks. $300 million a day, 20 years. Yep. So I'm pretty sure there's money in there for free public college tuition, for universal health care, for
Wumbo game. We got them. You're exactly right. I mean, if you just want to play sheer like household budget stuff, they just proved in spades we got tons of money waiting for this, right? So,
but I hear no discussion. On let's dramatically cut the military budget because we don't have an active war. Let's take this money and put it XYZ.
Yeah, I hate to say this, and that where I'm going with this, but cutting the military budget without literally immediately having a spending bill to offset that cut, to put that money back in, would create a recession on top of all the other stuff that would really devastate us all. I know that people don't realize that because they don't really think in terms of macro and aggregates. But if you don't have that money spent into the economy, even at that trickle, even that little trickle right there, we will feel that in a way that would devastate us. And we have to have a replacement for that money. That money, it should be domestic spending. It should be public purpose spending to enhance our lives, to keep us whole, to offset for, the horrors of climate change, to prepare for immigrant migrations into the nation, to run away from coastal communities that are going to be underwater, things like that. These are very real things that money could do, and we could even grow it more. We could double and triple it. I mean, there's nothing to stop us from doing that. And we have the real resources to, in fact, do that. So it is quite devastating to know that they will not do that, even though it just makes all the sense in the world. We just got 300 million a day. Hey, let's do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it, Jordan. And sadly, most of our audiences collectively probably don't realize that we could do better either, even though you've probably said it. A lot of people, you say this out loud and they don't really hear it. Doesn't really penetrate. They hear it surface level, and then they're off to the next subject, whatever that is, where the next live that pops up, they're off to that subject. This is one of those ones where you got to lock your heels into the dirt and don't let go and hold on to this subject and stay focused on this subject, because it will not happen on its own. It's got to be purpose driven. And that's my parting plea with you, brother.
And by the way, I'll just end this. It's not a question. All these people with all this shit about inflation, which, you do have to take the temperature of that and change course if it's real inflation. They seem to only care about inflation that helps working people, but the actual day-to-day 30-year inflation, which is gentrification, i.e. economic terrorism, which is driving up rental, home prices, milk, just to breathe in the neighborhood you grew up in, that inflation, that's urban renewal. So I just find that interesting.